We do welcome you back to the Gallo Radio Show right here on SuperTalk, Mississippi. Thanks for being with us on this Monday morning. Cold across the Magnolia State. This hour of the show is brought to you by MWG Employer Services. Running a business is tough, and if you're struggling with HR, benefits, and payroll, you're not alone. That's where MWG Employer Services comes in. They can provide a full range of employer services plus a custom plan that fits you. Give them a call today at 601-206-7966 or go to mwgemployerservices.com. We have a guest that is coming, Mandy Gunasekara, joining us. But before we start talking to Mandy, I want to play a couple of clips for you. Let's start in the White House press room with KJP.
Change over the next 6 months. The president's saying he would not.
It's still a no. It's still a no.
It will always be a no.
It's still a no. It will be a no. It is a no, and I don't have anything else to add. Will he pardon his son? No.
All right, very, very clear. Will he pardon his son? No. Let's hear from the president himself, Joe Biden. This was from France.
I'm extremely proud of my son, Hunter. He has overcome an addiction. He's one of the brightest, most decent men I know. And I am satisfied that I'm not going to do anything. I said I abide by the jury decision, and I will do that, and I will not pardon him.
Very clear. I will not pardon him, my son. Mandy Gunasekara joins us, former EPA Chief of Staff in the Trump administration and author of the recently released book, Y'all Fired. You can get that wherever you get books, available online and in stores as well. Good morning, Mandy. Hope you had a great Thanksgiving weekend.
Hey, good morning, Richard. I did, and it's good to be with you this morning.
You as well. Thanks for getting up bright and early on a cold morning. Were you shocked to learn yesterday that Joe Biden had pardoned his son, Hunter?
No, I've been expecting this. And I'll go ahead and say this too, Richard. I think that this is going to be the first of many pardons that the president is going to extend to family members, because what the Republicans in Congress have laid out over the past few years and what the American people have slowly but surely seen little drips of when the mainstream media lets it actually get through is that that President Biden was at the top of what the Republicans rightfully called the Biden crime family. And so it was pretty well expected that he was going to pardon his son, Hunter. And the only interesting thing is how much sooner it is. We thought that it was going to be the week of Christmas. That was the hot and heavy rumor around Washington, D.C. But I believe it was late last night while most people were sleeping, because Hunter's sentencing hearing was coming up and the president wanted to go ahead and get that pardon out of the way before he most likely moves on to other members of his family.
Yeah, it was, next couple of weeks is when he was supposed to go and be sentenced. And it was interesting, I thought, that Hunter Biden's legal team actually got those requests to the courts, the various courts, in even last night, saying, hey, we go ahead and dismiss these cases. You can't prosecute him.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. And, it just goes to show you there's been coordination all along. Those clips that you played of Karine Jean-Pierre, the press secretary at the White House, and then the president himself saying he wasn't going to pardon him. There's other clips that I'm sure many of the listeners remember where Joe Biden was saying, I have nothing to do with my son Hunter's businesses. I know nothing about them. I know nothing about Burisma, all these sorts of things. There has been very clear coordination from the beginning leading up until this point where we've got this pardon, which it's unprecedented in a lot of ways, but it's unprecedented in the fact that it's his son, number one, and number two, he explicitly said himself for so many years, misleading and gaslighting the American people, that he wasn't going to do it.
So, Mandy, I'm just going to be honest with you. When I look at this situation, I am, from one standpoint, looking at it through the eyes of a father, right? And I'm thinking, okay, if my son had done something and I needed to try and get him out and I had the ability to do that, I would do everything I could to protect my child. The pardon for the tax issues and the gun charges, that doesn't really bother me that much. I'm not saying it's right, but I think I can get past that. But a 10-year pardon with the inability to get to the bottom of all of the dealings with foreign companies, potential money laundering, all of these other things, that is really, really concerning.
Yeah, and rightfully so. I mean, let's look at the 10-year period it covers, 2014. Why does it start in 2014? That is the year Hunter Biden joined Burisma. In April of 2014, he joined the board of Burisma. And that really was the official start of a lot of what you just referenced, things that we don't know. And all of those crimes, the ones that Hunter Biden was actually brought before the courts to have to deal with, the tax evasion, the drug use, the criminal procurement of a gun. Those were the most obvious and innocuous claims. The DOJ really under prosecuted Hunter Biden. And that's what the American people saw. But there is a host of other crimes the Republicans have been laying out in Congress that a lot of people haven't seen because those reports have been buried. But there's also a lot on the laptop that we don't know about because they've been in the hands of a weaponized DOJ. Yeah, Biden referenced a weaponization of the justice system in his statement, but the weaponization has been to protect not just his son, Hunter, it really to protect the president himself. So what I would say, and this is the narrative the media is going with, is, oh, this is just a father trying to protect his son. And the problem is he chose not to protect his son when he made him, Hunter, someone he knew struggled with addiction, had all sorts of personality issues, was known for using prostitutes and crack cocaine in very overt public ways. He made him the front man for this criminal organization, and continued to put his son, he purportedly loves so much, in these situations where he was going to be exposed to all of these things that created the problems in his life. So it really isn't about loving his son. It's about protecting himself.
Yeah, I guess you don't want to put a serial bank robber in Scrooge McDuck's vault and say, hey, don't take anything. You're not creating a great scenario. Visiting with Mandy Gunasekara, former EPA Chief of Staff in the Trump administration and author of the newly released book, Y'all Fired. Be sure to check that out. You outlined the timing a second ago, and that makes sense, right? Go ahead and get this done before the sentencing. Is it purely coincidence that this comes within 24 hours of Donald Trump announcing that Kash Patel is going to be his director of the FBI?
Not at all. I mean, I think that has really shaken Washington, D.C., because Kash Patel was on the receiving end of a weaponized DOJ. He was looped into the classified documents case in Mar-a-Lago. All of these things come to find out he had been spied on by the DOJ for 5 years, and he didn't know about it until after 5 years had run, because Google was able to finally notify him, and he had no idea. Anyway, he was on the receiving end of all of this. But the truth is, he knows what he's doing. He's going to go in. He's going to right size, reduce the size and scope of the FBI. One of the things that he said, it's pretty viral right now, is that on day one he was going to shut down the headquarters in Washington, D.C., make it a museum for the deep state, and then send all the people that actually work there out into the field, because they signed up to be cops, and they should go work in the field and actually help the American people and fight crime in the trenches. So yeah, I do think, and Kash Patel, he's a pro. He knows what he's doing. He would know what to look for, and he's going to unearth more.
How difficult is his confirmation hearing going to be in the Senate?
I think a lot of the nominees are going to be difficult, but Kash Patel is, he may be controversial, but only to the left and only to the people that protect the deep state and have to benefit from it. And I think increasingly those number of people, even in the Democrat Party, are going to largely dwindle, because the American people, they're done with it. They see the weaponization, they're done with the deep state, and they want people to go in and actually turn the federal government around, so it's fulfilling missions for this country to improve it, not to go after people that have political differences.
Yeah, senators seem to have had different reactions. Only about a minute and a half left, Mandy. I thought it was, I don't know if ironic is the right word or just sad, that in the statement that he released, Joe Biden said, I feel like if you're truthful with the American people, they'll I'm paraphrasing, they'll believe you, right? You've always got to be honest with the American people. That's been my policy all along. And yet we had denial. No, not going to pardon him. And then he pardons him, which is kind of not being truthful with the American people.
Yeah, and that really is the legacy of this administration. They lied from the get-go. They've lied about so many major policy issues. They tried to lie about inflation and the impacts to the American people. They tried to lie about the rising crime rates and to change the numbers at the FBI. I mean, that is the legacy of this administration, and unfortunately, this is the latest the latest outcome of a president who is lying either because he was a part of that lie or because he didn't know the difference. And either way, the American people have issued their verdict, which is bringing in a new president to turn things around come January 2025.
Mandy, thanks for your time. Great catching up. Be sure to get the book. Y'all Fired would make a great Christmas gift or one for you to read yourself. Mandy Gunasekara. Thanks, Mandy.
Thanks, Richard.
We're back after this on the Gallo Radio Show.